Today I'm going to take a 260 ring power per hour land in Lord of the Rings Rise to War. Hello my friends and welcome back. I'm Chisgule Gaming, and in today's video I'm quite confident that I can take this 260 ring power per hour land, which has 2 level 45 defenders. But the question is going to be, at what cost? And man, let me tell you, I did some scouting. Now, I don't normally like to scout because I just find it rather time consuming, and I get that it's valuable. But what is scouting? This is when you send a march that has almost no troops in it to a tile where it is guaranteed to lose so that you can see what the defender is. So I have a couple scouts reports. I scouted this one, and then I scouted this one. And now you'll see why scouting is valuable. So if I just get a quick look here, you can see these are commanders I don't normally use. And so they have a bunch of stamina. I figured, what the heck, let's give this a shot. For whatever reason, Ugthrak, I don't know how to pronounce it, but this dude wrecks me. Every time I'm up against this commander, he does so much damage to me above and beyond what other units are doing. It's insane. So, yeah, I want to avoid this dude because he seems to cause a lot of damage. And yes, some amount of studying of his abilities will help me understand, like, kind of what he's doing. I took a quick look at this to try to figure it out. My best guess is just that he does a lot of damage up front with abilities that are really savage. And that's my best guess as to why it's so difficult. If I get a look at the other tile that I scouted, and, like, man, let me go. I think I have to go back in my history just a little bit. Here it is. This dude alerts also always wrecks me. And why is that? Because he often has this unit right over here, snipers. Snipers are a unit that will reduce the damage they take from melee units. Well, 2/3 of my army is melee units, typically. And also, he makes it so they prioritize ranged targets and 30% more damage against them. Well, that wrecks my damage, and they take, I mean, it's just, yeah. These guys just wreck my units, and I aspire, as I grow in this game, to have different unit types that I've maxed out. But for now, my strategy, for better or worse, has been to go all in on the units that the game gives me with my fellowship and faction. I guess I mean faction. And so I've gone in and I've nearly maxed out. In fact, I have maxed out my T4 Iron Warriors. I have done a pretty good job advancing my Guardians, although for the most part, I try to use the T4s instead of these T3s. I've got my Master Throwers maxed out. I've got the Ram Riders completely maxed out. So as soon as I kind of finish off these Guardians and max them out too, then potentially I start to look at, like, okay, what other unit do I go max out and start to use too? You see what I mean? So once my gold has been sort of deployed to min-max on those, then I'll start to look other places. All that to say, I did find a tile that I thought was better for me. It's this one over here, and scouting is important to do for that reason. So what's my strategy going to be? I'm going to send a couple marches here. I'm going to send Aragorn, and I like them to land within a 3-second window of each other to kind of guarantee that each army tackles a different army of the enemy. I don't know that it exactly works that way. I probably have a 5-minute window of safety, but whatever. I'm just going to launch because this seems to work well. Don't remind me. Don't remind me that this is going to be a hard fight. And in a couple seconds, I launch this one. And then I have a third army that I intend to launch because I will probably need it to help with the sort of draw, which I think is all but guaranteed to happen. So if I wanted, because this is next to my city, I really don't need to send it now. But because I just want to speed up the entire process of doing this, I am going to select this march, and I am going to send it. It's going to arrive after those other ones have hopefully entered into a draw or gotten to a conclusion. And hopefully I don't get completely wrecked. And if I do, then okay. We've all learned together. Now, you may be wondering, just cool, so did you scout this tile? And yes, I did. What is in this tile? This, to me, feels like a much more beatable march to me. For whatever reason, whenever I see Khaldun, I do very well. So what is the for whatever reason? They've got these mountain trolls, which are very easy for me to deal with my master throwers because they deal extra damage to large units. This is a large unit. So that countering is very important. But these fallen, what do? They do self damage plus 6% up to 10 stacks upon receiving damage. And mounted, they take less damage. Okay, got it. So they get stronger over the course of the fight, which that's not so bad for me typically. In terms of his abilities, he's got a damage boost that he gets over time. Men and orcs deal extra damage. Oh. Well, does he even have evil men or orcs in his army? Maybe that's the problem. Or they don't deal extra damage. They take less damage. Apologies. They take less damage. Evil men have a chance of attacking twice. And I think I see the problem here. Does this count as evil men? They do. Okay. These do count as evil men. The fallen count as evil men. So at least he does have some evil men in his army, but these mountain trolls are trolls. So they don't get the benefit of some of those abilities. Look at that equipment. I want gold tier equipment. How do I get more gold legendary equipment? Anyways, the battling is happening. Oh, and Aragorn got kind of wrecked. Not going to lie. Oh, these losses are going to be fierce, but here comes Faramir to do something. We'll find out what in a second. Hopefully it's taking the tile. And even if this kind of goes poorly, this is worth it to be able to gather from a higher tier tile. It is worth it to be able to mock battle from a higher tier tile. I hope. I'll tell you exactly how much it's worth it in just a second. What do we got here? Please clean this up. Now he's in a draw too? Oh, no, no, no. So what happened here? I'm getting obliterated. Wow, 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 wow. The first one was a draw. Okay. But I only lost 880 units. That's like not so bad. I'll lose more before it's over, but okay. The next one was a really bad draw. Wow, that was way tougher than I thought. He helped with the other fight, 348 dead. And then over here, look at this. 2,400 dead troops. Man, that's rough. And they kicked my butt. Why did they kick my butt? I don't know. I guess the fight ran long because I don't have enough units because I'm too low level for that. Oh, boy. I mean, maybe the way to have done this is to send in my Dwalin, let it run to a draw. I still have a 15-minute window, and I'll only have 10 minutes left in that window. I run him home and run him back? But that was pretty rough. 2,100 dead over here, too. I don't know if this was worth it. Wow. All right, well, I've got to wait until these draws resolve, which is going to be in 3 minutes, and I'll be back. Okay, 10 seconds until some of these draws start to resolve. I am actually a little bit anxious about how this went. I thought that this was a tile where I had some edge, and I entered into another draw. We got it. Oh, wow. Dude, look at that. The Dwalin went back into another freaking draw. Man, here is Aragorn, another report. 77 dead is fine. Here's another report from Dwalin. Another 453 dead. And there's still draws going where I'm going to get more reports. Yikes. So I lost a lot of troops. I got a huge hospital bill. And the question now is, Chisgule, was this worth it? What does a 260 ring power per hour tile give me? If I want to go gather, what I will get is 72,000 base resources plus a bonus of 21,600. So that puts me at a grand total of 93,600 resources. If I compare that to gathering at a 230 land, that is 78,000 resources. So every time I gather this particular type of resource, it is a nice chunk more than what I was getting before. Now, is that worth all the dead troops, though? If we go to do a mock battle on this tile, and I select a march, it is 40,000 base experience, which is pretty good. Now, if I pick the things that give extra experience as well, those are ring talents that I'm talking about, then I'm also going to get more and more and more experience. But you can see here, it would be based off my not really having any points into things that give me bonus experience specifically from these tiles, right? I don't have the mock battling bonus experience. I'm looking at 40,000 base plus 2,000. And if I look at one of the tiles that I owned before, a 230, we're looking at a grand total of, as I go gather instead of mock battle here, 35,000 plus a 1,750 boost. So there's a sizable increase in the amount of experience that you gain. And I know that it only seems like 6,000 or 5,000 experience, but the thing is that if you are mock battling, you're doing that like 10 or 20 times, and that ends up being a pretty nice chunk of experience. So was this worth it is a question where I think the answer is like, I mean, maybe. Oh, Gimli hit some mobs. Good for him. Maybe it's worth it, but like, maybe I should have waited a little longer. And this, by the way, is where I think I'm starting to hit a threshold, perhaps, where being free to play-ish. I mean, I've spent $3 total. I know that's not free to play, but maybe we're in the realm now, perhaps, where the equipment that I'm using just doesn't cut it. It's just not good enough to do the higher tier tiles. And that could certainly be the case. If I was spending, what would this look like and how much easier would this be? I actually think it would be dramatically easier. So it's possible that I have reached a point where the difference maker would be the equipment. I think it is equally likely that the difference maker could be that I don't have the right talent points applied. I would certainly believe that that could be the case. So if you've got thoughts about Dwalin builds, I found a huge surge in my performance when I switched to this build, but I'm open to thoughts on things that might be more performant or what to try. Let me know down below in the comments. Here's my Aragorn and the build that I have on him. He's not got all that much loyalty, so I only have so many options. And then the final march that I went in with, I believe, was this one right here. And, like, again, loyalty is a huge issue for me here, which ties back into spending, I suppose, where, like, I'm putting points into things that give me tip experience and time reduction for tips, which, like, that's not combat at all. So I would love to have more loyalty to be able to do more with this commander. I'm not there yet. I do have items. I could use these items. It could get me there. But this isn't one of the commanders I think I want to go in on. So there is a little bit of an element of me holding on to things too long, perhaps, with some indecision about, like, who do I want to invest in. I probably want to put all that into Dwalin. But I think the three commanders I really want to go in on are going to be right over here, Dwalin, Aragorn, and Gimli. I think that's where I want to be. And I just need, I don't know, a little more time to level them up. Good news. Now that I've got this bigger tile, I can certainly go and get more experience mock battling. Will I take another tile of this size anytime soon? Abso-freaking-lutely not. That is a lot more losses than I'm used to. And you know from watching my videos that my strategy is generally to be so overpowered when you take a tile that you lose less, which means you can take more tiles. And here is my tile situation. For those of you wondering, it's not bad. I've got, what is that? 13 forts, lucky 13. I do have a Bjorning camp. I've got 5 uncanny effigies. I did not realize I had so many of those. I've got 1 260. I've got 13 230s. And I've got 78 200s. Scrolling on down, I've got 50 170 lands. And I accidentally tapped one of my lands there. I have a grand total of 43 130s. So I feel like at this point what I should be doing is battling for objectives rather than battling for resources per se. Although, gosh bless, man, it takes a lot of freaking resources to keep 4 queues running. I'm not even running 4 queues right now. Ooh, and I just finished building something. So I'm going to get to this. If you enjoyed the video, throw a like on here and consider subscribing for Lord of the Rings Rise to War videos. And if you're looking at this going, Chisgule 260s, man, I'm tackling like 200s. You got a video for that? Man, I got a video for every single tier of tile you could possibly want to take besides the 300s. Oh, God. But check out those videos. I'll have a few cards up in the top if you want to see those, and maybe I'll even drop them into a playlist. Until next time, you have fun smashing your enemies.